What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going over a couple things that I like better on my 2013 s1000rr compared to my 2020 model. So right off the rip, I'm going to say the first thing that I really like better is the mirrors. The K67 mirrors on the 2020 plus s1000rrs are really not that great. I think they kind of went backwards. It's cool that they have the light integrated with it, but I could see everything out of these mirrors, even at like a higher RPM. And with the other ones, they just vibrate a lot. They suck. You know what I mean? I don't like them. So that is one thing that I like about this thing. The second thing, and obviously this is not going to apply to everybody, is the fact that the seat height is a little bit lower on this model compared to the 2020 model. I'm only like 5'9" on a good day, so you know that's not gonna apply to people who are taller, because you know you can probably flat foot easier. For us shorter riders, or you know somewhat short, I understand there are people that are shorter than me out there, but to have the ability to basically flat foot is a beautiful thing, and I really like that. It's just more confidence inspiring. And you know, when you're coming to a stop, it's definitely more convenient for sure. Let's see, so go ahead. So another thing that I like about this model, and this is probably an obvious thing, is the seat. The seat definitely feels more comfortable, and I get it, the newer ones, you know, is more for racing and whatnot and blah blah blah, but for everyday riding, this seat on this 13 model is definitely a lot more comfortable. So that is another thing that I like about it. Let's see, number 4. What is number 4? So I installed HID headlight bulbs in here, and I'll actually show you a little clip right now that I took with my phone, and it was on a street where it was pitch dark, there was no street lights on, and the damn HIDs lit up like the whole fucking street. It's awesome. So let me get to that real quick. So this is how bright the HIDs are. It's pitch dark over here. There is no lights at all. It's like 9 o'clock right now. These HIDs are super bright. Again, you can see the beam pattern on the road. But yeah, these things are awesome. Literally like daylight. Best thing you could ever get. Alright, so as you can see, the lights are amazing. HID headlights are awesome. I think they're probably better than my 2020 s1000rr. I'll have to do a back-to-back comparison to really get an idea, but I felt so much more comfortable at night driving this thing, you know, with the high beams on. Obviously, if I had the high beams on the 2020, it was okay, but I felt like this just gives off a brighter light. I'm telling you, it's something about those HIDs. So the lights hands down are better, and usually this gen model doesn't have as good of lighting as the newer one does. When I first got my 2020, I was like, oh yeah, absolutely, this thing has way better lighting, you know what I mean, for sure. But now, since I switched the bulbs, the HID bulbs with the ballast and everything, night and day difference, way better than the halogens that were in here. The halogens were junk. And I could see everything on this fucking, it's great. I was riding last night actually for like 2 hours because it just felt great. It was a little bit cooler out, and I was able to see so much with those HIDs. So I can't recommend them more. It almost makes me want to get HIDs for my 2020, to be honest with you. But anyways, I'll just leave them as is, because they're not, the 2020 lights aren't bad. They're a great improvement, I would say, from the previous generations, but amazing what the HID lights can do. So another thing that I like about this bike better than my 2020 is the fact that supposedly these motors and the whole bike in general, you know, the 2013 or 12 to 2014 models in the USA are stupid reliable, really, really reliable. I have been grateful that my 2020 really hasn't had that many issues. Apparently these are one of the most reliable gens, so to speak. Of course, it really depends on the owner and how they took care of it and everything, but this thing's got 26,000 miles and she runs great. She runs really good. Now this bike is not flashed at all, right? From the best of my knowledge, because usually when someone has a flash, they usually, you know, they extend the rev limiter a little bit, and they usually lower the fan temp. And this model this one that I have, the fan kicks on at the normal temperature. So I think they just did a map to this. I don't know if they did a dyno tune. I don't know exactly everything, but considering the fact that my 2020 is flashed and this one just has some type of map on it, I'm very impressed with this thing. It almost seems like this thing is like a little faster. It's kind of weird. I think it's that, I mean, don't get me wrong, both bikes are super smooth, for sure. Maybe, I feel like the 2020 is probably a little bit more smoother than this one. It seems like. And it's almost like too smooth, because it kind of takes away a little bit of that rawness that I feel like the bike should have. I mean, don't get me wrong, it makes the bike super easy to ride and everything, and an enjoyable experience, but, you know, sometimes I like that raw feeling because it just gives you a little bit more excitement, in my opinion. What the fuck are these people doing? Yeah, so that's another thing that I like about this. It does feel a little bit more raw. I do have to get the slick plug because this thing only has, you know, the 3 modes: rain, sport, whatever, and race. And you can get the slick chip on here to enable that, so I will do that because, I don't know, the guy never got it, so whatever. Not a big deal. But overall seat positioning on this thing is pretty comfortable. I think the K67 is a little bit more comfortable than this, but they're both great riding positions. Like, you can't knock them. They're both great. They are comfortable. Let's see. Is there anything else I kind of like about this bike? So the guy that had this bike, he got the suspension dialed in for his weight, which was basically the same as mine. And I could tell the difference. I mean, this bike just feels very, very stable. It does help that I got an Öhlins damper for this thing. That does make a huge difference on, you know, any bike, for sure. Even though the K67, the dampener is pretty good. On this year one, I had this thing turned up to max. Maybe it was just shot, but it was junk. So I got the Öhlins damper, and night and day difference. So glad. It was so worth the purchase. It was amazing. I couldn't believe the difference. So those are just a couple of things that I like about this bike a lot better. Like, I don't know, BMW, what did you do? What happened with the mirrors? I get it that you put the turn signals in it, but I mean, come on, these things are like crystal clear. All right, so unfortunately my GoPro battery did end up dying. So we're just finishing the video in the garage. But I was just basically saying that I don't know what BMW ended up doing with the mirrors, because they kind of destroyed them, you know, for the visibility wise. But another thing that I like about this is that it
doesn't have as much vibration as the K67 does. And especially since I put these lever guards on, I feel like it's like there's like no vibration to this bike. I mean, there's some, but it's very minimal compared to the K67. And it feels great. I don't feel my hand going to sleep at all, not wearing gloves or anything. So definitely another great feature about this bike. So you really can't go wrong with any of the year BMWs. Obviously, the newer the year, probably the better off you would be depending on what you want. But these, 2012 to 2014 models, you can't go wrong with these bikes. They are great, they're very reliable, and they are solid bikes, and they're a lot of fun to ride. So I am definitely happy I purchased this. Don't get me wrong, I still love my K67. I still like it. It's a great bike, but there's just certain things that obviously I mentioned in the video about this machine that I like better. So it's good to have both. And, now I have a backup bike just in case if anything ever happens to the K67, like engine-wise or something like that. So, but anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. And I'll end up doing another video at some point on things that I like better on my 2020 S1000rr compared to this 2013 model. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that, and we'll see you in the next video.